It's a new chapter on the program, everyone. In the past 100 days, we have followed developments under the Tinubu administration, probing its policies and asking the difficult questions. So what happens next after his first 100 days in office? We thought he still has some 3 years and about 265 days remaining as president of the Federal Republic, and we need to keep him on his toes and make him accountable for his campaign promises. So we're also extending our review of performance to other elected officials across the country. Welcome to Beyond 100 Days. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Join the conversation now on X, formerly Twitter, with hashtag Beyond 100 Days. Remember to tag at TVC News NG. At the Presidential Election Petition Court yesterday, the 5-member justices led by Justice Haruna Samani gave a unanimous landmark judgment affirming the election of President Tinubu as the duly elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in a 12-hour analysis of verdict, the longest judgment in Nigeria's history. Here's what we know about that judgment.
Exactly 100 days in office of President Bola Tinubu, the Presidential Election Petition Court sitting in the nation's capital in Abuja has affirmed the election of President Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress. Some landmark decisions have been made in this judgment. The Presidential Election Court dismisses APM Labour Party and PDP's petition for lack of merit. The court decided that the issue of nomination of Kashim Shettima is a pre-election matter and ought to have been ventilated at the Federal High Court. The issue of non-qualification and disqualification of a candidate is a pre-election matter. Election, when concluded and result declared, cannot be questioned under the provision of Section 131 of the Constitution on issue of non-qualification or disqualification. The petitioner ought to have filed a case before the Federal High Court within 14 days from the day the cause of action arose. Section 285, subsection 14C, doesn't allow members of any political party to challenge the nomination of a candidate of another political party. On President Tinubu's U.S. charges, Labour Party and its presidential candidate Peter Obi failed to prove that President Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress was convicted for money laundering in the United States. However, the tribunal ruled that no criminal charges was filed against Tinubu in the U.S. and that the APC candidate did not go through a criminal charge in America. On the 25% vote in Abuja, the tribunal also dismissed Obi and LP's petition on 25% vote of Tinubu in the Federal Capital Territory, saying Abuja is like any other state. The tribunal says FCT has no special status, describes interpretation of Section 134, subsection 2B as fallacious. On INEC is at liberty to prescribe the manner which election results should be collated. INEC is not mandated to electronically transmit or transfer election results. The glaciers experienced during the upload of the result to IRF portal was not a plot to temper or manipulate the result as alleged by the petitioner. The petitioner failed to prove that it was a case of manipulation by INEC. The glaciers are not on ground to challenge the outcome of an election in view of Section 134, subsection 1B of the Electoral Act. On overvoting, Labour Party was unable to prove claims of overvoting in the presidential election. The petitioner failed to establish any allegation of overvoting or voter suppression, the court ruled. PDP fails to give names of polling units affected by overvoting in Kogi State. The tribunal rules allegations of result manipulation in Lagos are vague.
On your mandate, Bola, on your mandate, Bola, on your mandate, we shall stand. We shall stand.
And following that judgment by the Presidential Election Petition Court in Abuja, President Tinubu assures Nigerians of his renewed and energized focus on delivering his vision of a unified, peaceful, and prosperous nation, asking his valiant challengers to inspire their supporters in the trust that the spirit of patriotism will now and forever be elevated above partisan considerations.
It's been a very, very strong and emotional journey for all of us, struggling for democracy, truth and justice for all. Today, we give kudos to the judiciary for their indefeasible commitment to rule of law and to humanity. Thank God Almighty for guiding us this far and protecting us. With your support, joys, and adulation, the theme for Nigeria is for us to pull Nigeria up and be proud of a country. That's the only country that we have. 1 out of 4 black race is in Nigeria. Well educated, dynamic, collaborative, and forward-looking people. Hard-working, no doubt. We have no reasons to be poor.
But how are the other petitioners reacting to the Court of Appeal judgment? The PDP and the Labour Party have both rejected the judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Court, which affirmed the election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The PDP, for instance, is saying that the judgment is against reason, facts, and evidences presented in court and against the relevant electoral laws, guidelines, and regulations, as well as the 1999 Constitution as amended. For the Labour Party, its National Publicity Secretary, Obiora Ifo, is insisting that justice was not served in the petitions of the party against the APC and President Tinubu. Mr. Ifo also said the Labour Party will make its next move upon consultation with its lawyers after receiving the certified true copy of the judgments. The big question is, will the opposition political parties have their way if they eventually head to the Supreme Court? I'm joined by legal practitioner Jiti Ogunye for more, particularly on the outcome of this judgment. Mr. Ogunye, thank you for joining us on the program this evening. We saw perhaps the longest judgment in Nigeria's history yesterday, and it was televised live. What's your assessment of that judgment, as well as the submission of the 5 justices of the Court of Appeal?
Well, thanks for inviting me. My view is that the judgment delivered yesterday, it was very lengthy, broadcast live, was a product of an assiduous and diligent adjudicatory labor. And I think that many Nigerians who perhaps weren't familiar with judgment delivery, who are laypersons, must be full of gratitude.
We're having problems connecting with Mr. Ogunye. We'll work on that and probably get back to him as we follow through with an expert opinion on yesterday's judgment. Mr. Ogunye, please go ahead. We lost you for a minute.
Yes, I was saying that many Nigerians will be full of awe, at the way and manner the judges did their job yesterday in a marathon fashion. For me, the judgment was full of reasoning, was full of solid review of the facts and the legal conclusions, and the reliefs that were made in judgment were excellent. For many who are initiates, so to speak, who are lawyers and who are not partisans and neutral, the judgment was expected to be like that. And the fact that all the 5 justices concurred without a dissenting opinion, made that judgment to be more solid. As the justices roundly noted and held, election petition being in a class of its own, sui generis lawyers will call it, cannot be determined on the basis of belief or supposition or imagination of partisans. It must be decided on the basis of credible evidence that is placed before the court. And the judiciary is not an investigator. The judiciary will not save discoveries, an inquiry that served in civil processes, go to fit for evidence outside.
Indeed.
They stay in the court to wait for the evidence that is led by the party. And if the parties fail to adduce credible evidence to sway the court in an adversarial combat, where the judge, hold the scale of justice between the two parties, the judges will have no choice but decide on the basis of what are.
Mr. Ogunye, talking about credible evidence, the panel of justices unanimously stressed what they call total lack of credible evidence adduced by the petitioners to support their cases. And then they went on to describe some of the legal arguments of the former vice president and Peter Obi as fallacious and ridiculous. Is that an indictment on your learned colleagues who represented the petitioners?
Yes, in a way it's an indictment. And I think that the judges rightly were angry. They ought not to be, but they were angry because they are also human beings. Don't forget, before the delivery of that judgment, in the court of public mischief, I won't call it a court of public opinion, the judges have been excoriated, called all sorts of names in the social media. And I think that one of the justices reacted to that yesterday. For example, the argument that was orchestrated by a section of the Sikh club in the legal profession on Abuja was a stupid argument. And the judges call it so. Lawyers just carry on and say they are testing the law, they are being innovative, they are, bringing up new issues, they are growing the law. What was that argument all about? The 25% mantra. What was it all about? An average lawyer should know that that's not the law. But it was so orchestrated that the judges now, appear to be sounding defensive in their judgment because it was so misleading. And that was why one of the justices, remarked that those who should know better, unfortunately, were the one parroting that nonsense. That justice said that yesterday. So it was, and the fact that there were, cost punitive in mind with were awarded, must be a reflection of how dissatisfied judges were with, this whole idea of beating a dead horse. Although, if you ask me, I would say that to keep the portals of justice open in a rancorously contested election like that, parties ought not to be damnified with cost like that, because they ought to be encouraged, no matter how frivolous their petitions are, to come to court rather than resort to violence. So I have a critique of that aspect. But overall, the judgment was very solid. For example, one of the judges also remarked that a party claimed to have over 133,000 polling agents, and not one of those polling agents was called in an election
as witness,
in which it was alleged that there was massive rig and all that. And rather than call those agents who witnessed the alleged rigging, the party was calling other witnesses who brought extraneous facts to the court. So what are they going to prove? Beavers, IREF, how they were manipulated. The judge was not persuaded by such, bad if you ask me. And I think that was why the judge just ruled in the way and manner that they ruled. And their judgment, if you ask me, was correct.
I hear you,
for
Mr.
those who are angling,
Indeed.
For those who are angling to go to the Supreme Court, yes, there's a constitutional right of appeal. But my admonition would be that if you're on the ground floor and you have a fall, the higher you go, the greater may be your crash. So if you have a fall on the ground floor, you have to talk to yourself and ask yourself whether you need to go upstairs.
I hear you, Mr. Kunye.
And then
I'm afraid that's our time. All of the cases referenced by the justices are also previous Supreme Court judgments. So we get to see their chances when they get to the apex court. But that's our time. Atiku Kunye, legal practitioner, thank you so much for talking to us on the program this evening. Now let's get some political dimension, or rather reaction to this judgment. Former special advisor to former governor of Ekiti State is also an House of Representative candidate of the PDP. Larry Olayinka joins us live from our Abuja studio. Thank you for joining the program this hour. Your party, the PDP, has also reacted, saying that the judgment is against reason, facts, and evidences presented in court. How do you react to this?
Well, good evening, Ifemi. One thing I must first say is that as a member of PDP that I will remain, it is painful to me that PDP was among the parties that had to go to court challenging the result of that election. It should have been the other way around. PDP should have been the party in power now, while the other party should be the one challenging the result of the election. Unfortunately for us, we are now fighting from behind. It's like a football match that a team had opportunity of scoring like 10 goals. They couldn't score any goal. Even if opportunity was given penalty kick like 2-3, the team could not score. And the other team managed to score 1 goal. And that team now went to FIFA to lay complaint that that 1 goal was scored with left leg instead of right leg. It was scored with head instead of leg, and all that. It is to me, whoever that is, I said it, I made it clear yesterday, that if I were His Excellency, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, I would say at this level, it is over. I won't appeal that judgment. I said it as that is my personal opinion. That's not the opinion of the party. Because I've maintained from the beginning, PDP worked not to win the election. So having worked not to win an election, and you have lost that election rightly, and let me put it that way, rightly, there's no point wasting money, wasting energy, going to court to challenge an election that you should have won so easily. That's my position, and that has not changed. If I'm sitting before Excellency Atiku Abubakar this evening, I'll be telling him this. I'll be asking him, where are those people who were telling you, oh, you are already the president, you are waiting to be sworn in? Where are those people who were telling you not to stoop so low to conquer? Where are those people who were telling you that the likes of Wike were nobody, were nothing? Where are those people who were telling you that the likes of Ayo Fayose, the likes of Governor Seyi Makinde, the likes of Baba Jonah Jank in Plateau, the likes of Ibrahim Shema in Katsina, the likes of Otom in Benue, were nobody? Where are they? That is it. So it is painful to me that we lost that election that I believe that we should have won. And I believe that what we got yesterday at the tribunal was still part of the confusion that characterized the election that we had. I said it yesterday, the opposition went to the election confused. Opposition also went to the tribunal confused. Confused in the sense that opposition PDP was PDP, PDP was Labour Party, PDP was NNPP. Between PDP, Labour Party, and NNPP, we had 14.5 million votes. If you remove the votes, if you deduct the votes that made President Bola Tinubu to win this election, you'll be having like 5.7 million votes between that is, and that's what we lost if we had contested the election as one. And when we went to the tribunal again, PDP went to the tribunal, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who came second. I won the election, declare me winner. Peter Obi came third, went to the election, went to the tribunal. I won the election, declare me winner. So between two people, who should have been won in the first instance? Who should the tribunal have declared winner of the election?
I hear you, Mr. Olayinka. If I can butt in very quickly, let's talk about the possibility of a comeback for your party's candidate and also your party. We are hearing the possibility of the PDP, Labour Party, and NNPP working together to produce a unanimous candidate ahead of next election. Is that a possibility?
Working together to achieve what? The head is off. The head is off. Even yesterday at the tribunal, did Labour Party and PDP work together? The answer is no. Labour Party went to the tribunal to say our candidate won, declare him president. PDP went to the tribunal to say our candidate won, declare him president. So are we still working together? So if we are talking about 2027, then we should begin to talk about 2027 now, not wasting time and energy going to Supreme Court. That because I've made this clear. It is either you win election as president of Nigeria or you forget it. You cannot contest election of president of Nigeria in the court on the basis of regularity and win. Where will you get witnesses? Where will you get witness? Where will you bring witness to come and testify in court?
Let's take a look at what Mr. President is saying. He has asked his challengers now to embrace the spirit of patriotism, above partisan considerations. What's the role of the opposition for this administration? And what do you think your party should be doing different?
Well, I have said as of today, let me say it here. Where is the opposition? The opposition party, the PDP that I belong to, is as good as confused. The Labour Party that is there is like confused. So the president can be talking to individuals in those parties, not the party as a party. The government, the president can be talking to governors of PDP who I so much respect, who has been reasonable, who has also been looking at Nigeria as a whole. The president can be talking to governors of PDP, governors of NNPP, governor of Labour Party. I don't think how will the president? So what I'm saying here is that government has been formed, both as the state at the national level. So I believe that if the president wants to be talking about maybe government of national unity, bring people together, it will be through the governors. And I want to believe that the president is experienced enough to be able to do that.
All right. Thank you so much for your contribution. Larry Olayinka is a PDP member who has joined us on this discussion. Good to hear from you and good to see you, Mr. Olayinka. Now, let's hear from APGA. Just before we go on the show, I'm joined by the APGA National Publicity Secretary. Your party did not contest this election, but you were very active in the 2023 general election as well. How's APGA reacting to this judgment?
Okay, I don't know if you can hear me, Nifemi.
I can. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm actually sorry to have joined on this conversation quite late. We had our first Anambra Investment Summit today in Awka, so it's been a big of activities for us down here in the state. But be that as it may, I hope I am forgiven. So first of all, yesterday was a very historic moment. Not just for democracy, but also for the Nigerian people, because the judiciary didn't fall down to the capacities of people who tried to intimidate it to doing probably the bidding of the voting lot. And we're happy that they didn't just give a judgment, but they also gave detailed reasons backing whatever decision they took at the tribunal.
We're going to have to get back to you subsequently. We have issues hearing you very clearly, but be sure that we'll continue this conversation perhaps tomorrow. Ejimofor Okpara is the National Publicity Secretary of APGA. And thank you for being a part of the program today. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. See you again.